Ladies and gentlemen of Holland-Bukit, and those of you who have come from further afield, from Sembawang and Yuhua, Bukit Panjang, and even as far as the East Coast. And some of you, I understand, from Tanjung Pagar as well. I am happy to be back here. On Thursday last, I had the privilege to address you in Commonwealth, on the very field where I used to jog when I lived in the Holland village, which is now in Tanjung Pagar. And then in the last 2 days, I went to Woodlands and Jurong to meet the communities there and to talk with them. I was very moved to hear Ms. Teo So Lang's speech. So Lang is, of course, the candidate for Yuhua. And I was very excited and motivated by Dr. James Gomez's speech yesterday when he unveiled the People's Plan for the people of Sembawang. A plan that he developed in interactions with the people up there rather than given to them after being developed in PAP HQ somewhere else. And of course, Mr. Alec Tok, my valued colleague, who also addressed the people of Bukit Panjang from Commonwealth on Thursday. But today, if you will allow me, I would like to speak directly to the people of Holland-Bukit. Over the last few days, the PAP has spoken to the Singaporean people at its rallies and its press conferences, and they have said many, many things to you. We know they have said many, many things because the state media has reported every single word that they have said since Thursday night. But if you listen very carefully to their speeches and statements, you will hear three ideas. Firstly, that everybody is selfish and that their only motivation is themselves and their assets. Secondly, that all you people are stupid and you are influenced by fear tactics or if we throw $800 at you. And thirdly, people are forgetful and they don't remember the problems we are facing in this country today. We just give them $800. In short, the PAP's understanding of society is one that is shaped by money, by fear, and by selfishness. Now I want to be very clear, don't get me wrong. In case Mr. Mabautan accuses me of wanting to raid the reserves, in case Dr. Balakrishnan accuses me of fabricating evidence the whole world knows, or in case Mr. Kobunwan says I'm going to hell because I lied, let me be very clear. Economic activity and asset accumulation are an important part of the nation's activity and a key part of government activity. Saving money and careful management of our reserves are central to a country's future. Upgrading our infrastructure and ensuring that we have the machinery to keep business going cannot be underestimated. Growing the economy and registering healthy GDP growth are the foundations of successful community. But, my friends, and this is a very big but. My colleague John Tan, who is a psychologist, and Dr. Ong Yong Wan, who is a psychiatrist, no doubt will advise me that the hardware of a community, its resources, its infrastructure, are not the end of the matter. Your home is not just an asset or place that keeps you warm and dry. Our roads, our parks and trees are not just advertising logos to attract investment. And our reserves are not just a means of securing our future. Our social arrangements are not there just to keep the country stable so that we have industrial and civil peace. Our homes are where we draw our friends in, where we feed them on our festivals, where we display our photos of our ancestors and our family events and our souvenirs from our travel. Our homes are where we create who we are, and from where we go out into the world as children and as adults to be with our neighbors. In short, our home is the center of our family, and all the homes on our island are where we create, where we build community. It is when I know my neighbor, when I share my culture, my traditions, my hopes and dreams with them, when I say, without having to speak, "This is my land." What did Martin Luther say? "Here I stand, I can do no other." Meaning that this is my home, this is my country, my land, this is where I root myself in spite of the turbulence of life, in spite of hardship. And this is also where I help to root my neighbors, my friends' children, their aged parents. This is home. Now, my friends, I am not saying that the value of your home, the real asset value, is not important. Of course it is important. We all want to maximize our dollar. We all want to maximize our savings for old age. But when I am made to feel that the only worth of my home is the amount of dollars I can convert it to so that I can sell it one day to pay for my old age, then I know that the PAP government has failed. When I realize that the value of my home then affects the value of a first-time buyer's home, so much so that that young couple who want to start a family cannot because they can't afford to, then I know that the PAP government has failed. And when I am told that I can only buy a house in a certain part of the country because the PAP thinks that having too many of my kind in a particular place will cause me to riot, then I know the PAP has failed. So this evening, my friends, I would like to say something about the software of community. Dr. Ang has helped me greatly to understand that the hardware of a community only exists to support the software, the reality of life, the things that make life worth living. Who was it who said stomachs full and heads empty? Well, I add to that. Stomachs full, hearts empty. That is not the Singapore we want. That is not the Singapore you want. Even a respected former late PAP minister like S. Rajaratnam warned that Singaporeans know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Let us show him that he is wrong. We are today experiencing the effects of 52 years of PAP mismanagement. I'm not referring to economic mismanagement. I will leave that to my colleague Jise, who will develop his themes from his paper today and in the next few days, and who, as you know, has attracted high compliment from Lord Butler himself. I want to talk about the mismanagement of our community. The PAP is fond of coining slogans like Heartware and Heartlanders, but their actual policies have shown that they don't believe in their own values and their own words. Instead of listening to people in the 1950s who lived in 3- and 4-generation homes with close links in the neighborhood, close links in their kampong, and shaping their housing policy to enhance community, they broke up our extended families and stuffed us into boxes, one on top of another, and then forgot about neighborliness. Instead of building our schools so that every child would have a creative education, they allocated such a small amount of money and brought in all sorts of political considerations so that today even they acknowledge that the schooling system is not working. You remember Lee who said the bilingual policy has failed, something teachers could have told him 15 years ago. Instead of ensuring that our people had good access to quality doctors, hospitals and medicines at prices they can afford, they sold our hospitals so that now they make a profit from our sickness. And now they charge us $3.50 for the privilege of using our MediSave for our healthcare. Instead of developing the economy so that we could take advantage of, in Mr. Tanji Seth's words, meaningful jobs, they brought in many workers from outside and pushed our wages down. Instead of building trust and respect between people, which are the foundations of community, of civilization, they divided us according to whether we are Malay or Chinese or Indian or other, according to whether we are rich or poor, whether we are blue collar or white collar, and then convinced us to think we were Singaporeans last. They promised us they would build a nation. What we had then was a community already in existence, but which they broke up with that famous hatchet that Lee carries in his bag. My friends, today is Labor Day. We are all workers here. Yesterday, the NWC, in a puzzling move, decided to recommend to the government higher wages for workers. When the SDP recommended a minimum wage for the poorest of people, the PAP said it would scare away investment. Yesterday, the NWC agreed with the SDP that workers need more money to cope with rising costs. There are many reasons offered for why costs are rising in business. But yesterday, the Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry said it is high rent that is the most challenging aspect of doing business, something the government can control. The last time the NWC recommended an increase in anything due to the global recession was 2008, when it suggested a grant of $250 to people in Singapore, workers in Singapore. That's less than 50 cents a day. I'm not sure whether they are aware that the last time 50 cents was enough for a worker a day was when, as we say in Singapore, policemen still wore shorts. This year, the NTUC celebrates its 50th anniversary. A national trade union congress that has to stand outside MRT stations and persuade housewives to join is rather a failure. I met an elderly man 2 days ago in Bukit Panjang. He is employed as a cleaner in one of the LRT stations. He worked for 43 years as a driver of a refuse truck before they privatized it. And he has, $26,000 left in his MediSave and nothing left in his CPF. One catastrophic illness would wipe out his entire savings. And so he works for $500 a month. The NTUC has nothing to celebrate today. My friends, the people whom I lead in this election, I am proud to lead, and we offer the people of Singapore, the people of this community, a new vision of tomorrow. We will develop it in the next few days. But at this stage where I end, I want to ask you, in these last few days, come and volunteer with the SDP. We need more and more people. Visit our merchandise stands. Look at our website for our information. And now, go back to your homes, go back to your communities, and tell the people of Singapore, there is no split in the SDP. We are as united today as we were 5 years ago, and 10 years ago, and 10 years before that. And we go united into these elections, and we will emerge united, leading you in a parliament that serves you. My message today is the same as my message in the last 3 days. Let us go forward into the future with no one left behind. Thank you.